been on these streets for 3 years or so now. I live in downtown Kingston. Would you like to start as our guest?
Sure, I'm David Daw. I have a website called Things by Wheelchair Saw, and I basically advocate for handicap accessibility. And I am an ambassador for the MDA, Muscular Dystrophy Association. And that's pretty much me.
All right, thanks for joining
That's what I
us.
do these days.
I'm Brandon Stennis. I live here in Kingston and I've been on CSAC for almost a year now or something, and then the secretary.
You're up to me?
Yeah.
I'm Claudette Fulber and I am a member of CSAC, and I've been a member of CSAC for a long time now. I'm going to say 4 or 5 years. Was formerly the chair of our County Research Center for Accessible Living, and I'm a former public works student.
Hi, everybody. I'm Emily Flynn. I'm the Director of Health and Wellness for the City of Kingston. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the liaison for this committee. See the cameras moving around for the folks on Zoom? Would you guys prefer me to make it static, or do you like this format? Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Elizabeth, you're coming off mute. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying, I prefer it static, but if other people want to move around, that's fine.
Cool. Since you're off mute, Elizabeth, why don't you introduce yourself? We're going around.
Oh, okay. Elizabeth Michelle. I'm a resident representative on the council. I got involved because I moved here, and I live on a street that was part of one of the Kingston Engage projects to redo the street and the sidewalks and everything. And so then I got very interested in all that and asked to join the committee, and here I am 2.5 years later, still on.
Brian, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hey, everybody. Brian Slack, Ulster County Transportation Council. I have to leave a little early today, just to let you know.
Thanks for joining. Ezra, do you want to go?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, hi, I'm Ezra. I live over by the YMCA in Kingston. I'm just about lifelong resident of Kingston. I've lived in Kingston without a car for about 15 years or so. So, I'm about a lifelong advocate for walkability and disability accessibility and all that. Been on the council for about a year and a couple months now.
Ellen, do you want to go?
Hello. Oh,
Hi.
okay. Hello. Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Ella Condrat, and I am a member of this Complete Streets Advisory Council, and I'm sorry, I'm a little sick right now, but I'm just happy to be here and listen to what everyone has to say. And I use she or they pronouns.
Gustavo, would you like to go next?
Yep. Hey, everybody. My name is Gustavo Salme. I'm a Midtown resident. I've been living in Kingston, I think, for the past 5 years. Before that, lived in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and I'm originally from Venezuela. So I've been in a few places that are not walkable at all and very walkable. And we try to walk and bike wherever is possible.
Thanks. Katrina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi there. I'm just visiting. I'm Katrina Williams. I'm the Deputy Commissioner at the Ulster County Department of Mental Health, and I'm also on the Live Well Commission.
Okay. I think that's everyone. Thanks everyone for joining. Let's see. So just in terms of the old business updates, do we have some things to go over there?
Sure, I can put remind me.
Okay.
So for the transportation clearance update, I thought it's a busy time right now. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to do an update next month. I'll do a whole lot because it changed.
Sure.
In fact, next month, I believe the grants department will have a full grants report, the quarterly report due. So we didn't mind, I thought it would wait till next month.
Okay. Great.
Quick update, this is on the participatory transportation safety program. This is the project that Complete Streets submitted all those potential projects to. Just want to mention it's moving through the system, so John Schultes has reviewed it again. Ryan Kuhn and DPW has reviewed it again. We're gonna narrow down those projects and submit to the mayor for consideration, so the project's moving along.
Okay.
No other update than that.
No other. Okay. All right. Great. Then I guess without further ado, so we have a special guest that Ella introduced to us, David. So yeah, thanks for coming to meet with us. I'm not sure if you had sort of anything you wanted to discuss in particular or how you wanted to sort of.
I honestly didn't know.
Okay.
I just got basically an email saying, we'd love to have you here.
All right.
And it sounds like something where I belong.
Yeah. Well, like as we kind of just touched on very briefly, the issue of sidewalks is something we've been talking about for years now, and we're hoping to be able to sort of move forward with our plan to slowly improve the city sidewalks mile by mile, more or less, which I think is going to go a big way toward accessibility, generally speaking. But there are other issues that you sort of find with Kingston.
There's a lot of.
Yeah. What are some of them? Just to sort of get us sort of,
It is not fun to live in Kingston anymore, living in a wheelchair. It is, it's become eye-opening. My father was in a chair for 20 years.
Okay.
And my grandfather before him for 20 years. So we've been kind of through it.
Right.
And one of the things, my father became a recluse because there's really nowhere to go, nor is it really safe to go out in a wheelchair. And I know that sounds kind of crazy. And for 20 years, my brother and I would yell at him and be like, no, we're taking you out. And as long as we were with him to keep him safe, he was okay. Then it became my turn, and it was time to get in a chair. And all of a sudden I start realizing like, he was right. Dad was right. And a lot of it is very simple stuff.
Right.
But a lot of it, is going to require rebuilding and redoing.
So what is it besides sidewalks? You're sort of, because the city's obviously doing the intersections, they put in the ramps wherever they seem to be able to.
Those seem to be better. We're starting to see them around. Downtown is a nightmare. Uptown is even worse. I can't get to my doctor's office without hitting into planners or tables or people who run the restaurant. It's not to mention trying to get up and down on the shale down there, which is very uneven. So that becomes a whole issue. What I ended up doing was buying an all-terrain chair. And as you can see, I'm sorry, you can't see, but it literally has all-terrain wheels on it. And it's what gets me around here safely. Normally here, people go to Nico's because it's the only store in town that sells them. And they're sold what's called a Group 2 chair. And they come with a much smaller tire. They're hard. And these chairs don't have much power and can't jump curbs, and they get stuck. And a lot of times as you're driving along, they will catch on one of those sidewalks. It's one of the reasons I feared using one of them until I found this company. And that becomes, like I saw my father launch out of the chair many times. And it's scary. And then it kind of gets in your head and you're going, I don't want to go anywhere.
Right. It's like you said,
Everywhere you go.
outside.
Then you get into the whole bathroom thing in town, and on top of it, most of the stores and most of the places aren't accessible to begin with. Downtown, not really, because everybody's got steps to get up in. Here and there, they have a couple ramps, but they're not exactly the safest ramps.
Sure.
And then the parking situations become another situation, especially uptown. One of the major problems up there, I had to go to the DMV. Go to the DMV at 5 o'clock at night. The entire parking lot is full. There's no parking. So I have to park out on a one-way street. The handicap parking on Fair is on the left-hand side of the street. All vans for wheelchairs. Every single one, except for a very small, minute amount, have their doors open out the passenger side. So if I'm parking on the left-hand side of the street,
You're in the lane traffic.
yeah, I have to drive right out and I can't see them when I'm sitting in the chair trying to get out. So the first thing I have to do is drop a ramp out and then pray somebody doesn't hit that and break the $7,000 ramp and obviously get hurt. And then I have to go, okay, nobody's coming. And then I gotta buzz out of there and get out of there quick, somehow get the ramp back up because that's a power ramp and you gotta do all these things. And it just becomes this thing. I get into the DMV and there's nobody there. There's a security guard and there's two people working at the counter and and I'm going, so the whole lot is full. I park way down the street. And again, it's okay, I got wheels and I can just cruise, but when you're dumping out into the middle of the street, that becomes quite an issue.
Yeah, that's an interesting point there. It's something that I think a lot of people might not think about.
I drove my dad around for 20 years, he didn't drive and we took him and I never realized all these little things because I was capable at the time and I was able to look out for him. I was able to, provide security for him basically and get him through these things.
So you were talking when I first got here about some sort of service that can possibly drive people around. Was that?
I think I was asking him if he used paratransit, which I don't use for not quite his reasons, but for similar reasons. And it doesn't run all the time.
Is that county or who's? County, okay.
Yeah, it's not always available when you need it to be available or, to do what you want to do. As far as what, is it Don or Doug? David, I'm sorry. David was saying, those are issues. I mean, in his case, the mobility issues of getting in and out with the wheelchair, but even for those of us who don't use the wheelchair with a cane or have other mobility issues, it is a problem. Trying to find how to get out without stepping into the lane of traffic is difficult. And I definitely sympathize about the DMV. I had to go there for my enhanced driver's license, and it was a bit of a challenge because it's not user friendly for those people who have disabilities. And if you're in the kind of chair that I can't really see, but from what I heard him go through on it, that kind of maneuverability, it's just not there. And when you kind of look and say, well, how do I maneuver this or what do I do? Quite honestly, many times the staff is just not, they just look at you with this blankness, either did you come here with somebody who can assist you, which for most people who have some disability want to be independent as much as possible, or they just kind of shrug their shoulders and go, yeah, I know it's bad, but I don't know what else to do. Which leaves you with the quandary, because if you're trying to do something that's on a tight deadline, DMV doesn't care. They're not going to listen to, well, okay, I had a mobility problem or I had an access problem. They're just like, you have to have an enhanced driver's license if you're going to get on this plane. What do you do? So I hear a lot of what he's saying, and I'm actually happy that you're here because somebody else is saying it besides me.
I can imagine the sidewalk issue.
Oh, that's
your cane must get caught every time.
Every 6 inches. Sometimes it's hard getting in and out. The steps are uneven. It's always a problem. It really is.
My chair is a $60,000 chair, and it's made to not tip. And I almost tipped it just going around the old Dutch church. I was at a function up there and just trying to get by one tree that's got them sticking way up. And there was nowhere else to go. You have to go or not, or I guess turn back and go all the way around the block.
And going to the street, maybe.
And again, my chair does it because it's made for that.
Yeah.
But if it was one of those Nico chairs, or a manual chair, even worse.
And you're fortunate enough to be able to do that, or to have that kind of chair. If you are not that fortunate,
no,
you have your issues of mobility are geometrically increase because you really don't, how do you move? And it does cause isolation, and it does cause the fear of not wanting to leave where you are, because as a person with a disability, you're most independent in your own surroundings.
Great. I see Helen has a hand up.
Hi, I did not want to interrupt, but I'm so glad we're having this conversation, and I think your input is really valuable. You know, and you know, just understanding from a variety of perspectives what it's like for people with various abilities and disabilities to live here is really valuable. And I just want to add, I just saw the other day on Albany Avenue by one of the gas stations, there was somebody in a wheelchair who was propelling themselves by their hand. They were hand propelling themselves in their wheelchair, and the ramps, you know, it's like the ramp goes down the side on the sidewalk, the ramp goes down and it goes up, and it's like not even straight. It doesn't even go straight down. It's like at a curve, and he was like sliding all over it. He ended up going in through the gas station itself, or the into the paved part of the gas station, because that was flatter. And it just made me feel, you know, it just made me think about, you know, the fact that like we're not, you know, we just don't make a priority. We don't prioritize accessibility for people. You know, I think there are ways where, you know, you could, I don't know, maybe Claudette as a public works person, you have thoughts on this, but you know that some places they do have the continuous sidewalk, and you know, and the car has to go up a ramp instead of the people. So there's things like that we could be doing. So I just wanted to mention that. And also I also want to mention that the county is increasing the number of paratransit buses from 3 to 5 next month. So we'll see, maybe that'll result in improved service for paratransit users.
All right. Yeah.
It's interesting because, again, like I had my dad saying it all the time. And then when I got out there and actually see it, and it's every day, like I literally don't want to leave my house and go. And I've lived here 56 years. I love Kingston. I chose to be here. And now it's like, I don't know if I want to stay here. It's now gotten to a point where I'm like, there's nowhere to go. I was just asked to get involved. They heard me on the radio like Ella did. And the Metro, they're building this new thing over on Greenhill Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
And I forget where I was going with that. They asked me to come to a meeting, and their office has stairs and they're not accessible. And they want me to come talk to them about accessibility. And they apologized for it, which was good. But it, you know, I said to him, I said, then let's just do it virtually, because there's really nowhere to go. Like the restaurants in town, they're not enjoyable to go. Granted, I have stomach problems. I have other issues where I don't go and eat in these places, but I've been there. I actually just filmed a commercial for a wheelchair company. And I had to spend time driving around trying to find places so we could go. They wanted to use local, and instead of like go up to Lowe's or Home Depot, they were like, let's, you know, highlight some of your local businesses. And I literally had to go try and find a place. And we ended up down at the Cornell because a friend had told me that they had a lift down there. And we get down there to film, and these people flew in from Colorado. Like, this was a big deal. There was 8 people came into town to do this whole commercial. And we get down there, I can't even get up to the bar. And I mean, it's just been rebuilt.
Yeah.
And it's
Right. Yeah.
it's little things like that. And ramps aren't that expensive. You know, I've run into that in so many different places. And it's like, if you're gonna be an inclusive place, like you just need to like think about these things and think differently and just
And for, I was recently just at the Cornell, and you would think, and I found it challenging as well on different reasons, but you would think that someplace that has just been quote retrofitted would have fit into the ADA guidelines, that it would have had to have done certain things. And it didn't seem to, and that's one of my frustrations with the ADA guidelines or what people enforce in terms of retrofit. Usually it's a certain percentage, and it escapes me exactly what it might be in a building like that you must fit into ADA guidelines. They obviously didn't, and that had to be a sizable retrofit. So you're right, you can't get to the bar. I can't get through the aisles because the chairs are all
I
in the
can't either.
right, and I can try to maneuver with a cane. So I know that you couldn't get there through a wheelchair. I mean, it's just kind of frustrating when you are in some place that you think, well, okay, and it's not.
Yeah, I literally like, oh, this is gonna be perfect, and they just rebuilt it, and I thought, just as you just said, I'm like, it has to be ADA compatible. Nobody would let them open the building if it wasn't.
Right.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
It's not. Matter of fact, I can barely fit in the bathroom. If we're on that list, the stadium, like, how many millions of dollars were just put into that stadium? Like millions, and it's beautiful, and they thought of everything, except for accessibility, because this is a small chair. It looks large, but this is an average, it's actually considered compact. At the bottom, I can't fit in the stalls, in the brand new bathrooms there. Or when you come out of the door on the visitor side, there's a sidewalk in front of it, and it's not big enough, so then you're going to fall off into the grass. So back to a Nico's chair, I'm using that as an example. If you're in that type of chair, if that tire goes off into the grass, that person's tipping over and falling. And it's a lawsuit waiting to happen, let alone that person's getting hurt. I can do all of these things. I am spoiled. I had enough guitars to sell. I had a mother-in-law who helped us, and I sold my car to get my chair to literally be able to do these things. Not everybody can do that. I get that. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I can get around, I can get in these bathrooms, I still can walk a few steps. So even if a bathroom isn't fully accessible, I'm okay. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for these other people. I talked to Diane Kaiser. I don't know if anybody knows who Diane is, but Diane was actually hit right out here in front of this building during COVID, and she's lost her legs. She broke her neck, she broke everything. Diane is what do we call it? She does the Christmas wishes and raises hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think it's involved with that, but I think it was
Was it hit on the street?
She was hit on the street. She literally came out of her door and she was hit. This was a big thing. It was in the news. It was, I think, the first year of COVID or second year of COVID. And she and I, we were up at Forsyth Park, and we were complaining about the bathrooms there because none of them are accessible. They have big, huge signs that say they are, but they don't have ramps to get in them. And we were talking about the bathroom thing, and this one hit me hard because here I am complaining, and I'm telling her I was having a hard time at that bathroom there, and then I was telling her about up at Target of all places, I can't get my chair in. I have to leave it out in the hallway because it doesn't fit. And as I'm talking to her about it, she's like, you have no idea. And I'm like, what don't I know? And she's like, so I can't use a toilet. She's like, I don't have legs. And it didn't even dawn on me, here I am deep in all this stuff. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, so what do you have to do? And she's like, I need an adult changing tape. And I'm like, and how many of them are in town? And she's like, none, nowhere. We found one, and it's at the van place that sells handicap vans. Imagine that. Nobody, you go there once and you don't go back for 10 years because nobody can afford them anyway. So it's not like you get used there. No, she can't go out anywhere. I mean, this woman's out raising money, giving Christmas gifts to kids and taking care of half of Kingston. Yet she can't go to a restaurant. She can't go to stores. Everything has to be pre-planned. And then either her sister or her husband has to take her out to the van, or the other option is they bring chucks and lay it out on the dirty bathroom floor, and they have to change her there. She's 60 years old. Like, to have to do that, let alone her husband has to pick her up off the ground. And that hit me. And I was just like, so one of my goals with my websites and everything that I do is we're in the middle of doing a nonprofit, trying to get all the paperwork. And I'm going to raise money and I'm going to install it. And I'm going to put them around this town. And anybody that will let me, I'm going to put them in there. And
What's your website? Maybe we can share it.
thingsmywheelchairsaw.com.
Now you're
And
saying,
that'll point you to Facebook or whatever.
you were saying earlier that you think it's been getting worse since you've been experiencing this with your father. When things are, like for instance, the Cornell Island Rivers businesses are retrofitted or redone or opened that weren't there before. They're not doing this. Was it better in the past, or has it just always been basically bad?
I think it's just been always bad.
I think it's you become more aware of it as your
Yes.
situation changes.
Sure.
Before I became legally blind, I was aware that, my vision was diminishing, and I was aware of many things, and I tried to be more understanding or promote them, especially as a public works director. I was always trying to do the best I can, but it really was a very rude awakening when it became, I'm legally blind, I cannot drive anymore, I cannot see the things that I used to see, and all of a sudden, I have a mobility cane. I can't walk on a sidewalk because I trip. I can't get into certain restaurants because the steps are very high. There's no railing. I can't hold on. I mean, you as we age as a population, and as I said once before, anybody can become disabled simply by skiing and falling the wrong way. So you're 21 or you're 22 and you realize that now all of a sudden you're a paraplegic. And the day before, you didn't know that the world did not make it easy for you to exist as an independent person. So I think that's why you could say it's worse, because you had, and it's not to say that you had no reason to be aware of it before. You become aware of it now because it affects you personally.
Very true.
Yeah.
You really start to see it. And then the more you get involved, the more you talk to people. Like you said, I have no idea. I just looked at Diane. I'm like, didn't make any sense. And she has given me permission to tell this story because she's also helping me with this.
Right.
It's my goal to make a place for her to go. And it's not just her. So now take that another step. A child with cerebral palsy, parents can't take them anywhere. It's the same situation. Like, you barely think about it. Every time we go into a bathroom, you see the little baby ones that are on the wall. Half of them are hanging halfway off. They don't work.
They're not clean.
They need an adult-sized table to do that. It's only a few more inches long. It can fit in every single bathroom that's out there. It's not that expensive, and it's just common decency at this point.
Yeah, thinking about stuff like Forsyth Park, isn't the city sort of required to?
When we do upgrades.
Yeah, when they do
There's
upgrades,
something
okay, so it's
to
like,
do.
yeah, there's stuff that's grandfathered, I guess.
And I don't know what guidelines were followed when it comes to that stadium. Like, maybe there's these minimum guidelines that I'm not aware of. I mean, I go read stuff and it should be able to fit a chair in there.
Right.
And
Actually, I'm sorry, I had raised my hand, but I actually just chatted. I Googled ADA compliance for new construction, and this is, I can't even talk. I'm so shocked that your wheelchair looks like a normal size wheelchair. It doesn't look like it's, any huge. I'm just appalled that you can't get into the bathroom. This is a brand new $1 zillion facility that has to be under public building codes. And this, you can look in the chat. It definitely has to. I mean, this. I don't even know. I'm sorry. I'm furious.
And it was very.
Well, something has to be done. I mean, this is ridiculous. How could they get that even approved? Wasn't public money used to build that, to reconstruct it? Yeah. I mean, this needs to be. How could it even pass inspection? I mean,
I'm sure that.
Those are the
minimum
questions I
guidelines-
have.
I mean, in all fairness to the city, I don't think that they purposely said, we don't want anybody to get in there, and I'm sure that they went to
No.
minimum guidelines. It's just a matter of, there usually needs to be somebody with a little bit more expansive thinking, and that can be hard. to
plain
sometimes
wheelchair
understand.
can't get into the door of the bathroom.
No, when I worked for the city of Berkeley, my advisor on my staff, he was a paid staff person, was in a wheelchair. And when he would do the inspections, he was the test example. He would make sure that his wheelchair could at
I
least.
know, sweetie, I know that, but the point is that
No, but
it's
all
a
I'm saying, but all I'm saying is that I don't think that, I don't want to cast aspersions against the city for saying that they did this on purpose. No, I'm sure they did
I
not.
didn't say that. I said
Okay.
what happened in the inspection. This is kind of, I am literally just, I'm appalled, and I have my limbs and I'm fine. I'm just like, this is unbelievable. This is, I mean, somebody's house or even maybe a building, an office, but this is a public facility for the entire city for anybody to use. It's the one place that you would expect these guys. Yeah, I mean,
I got four grandkids. I gotta go to that stadium for the next 10 to 15 years. And it's like, it's a good thing that I actually live right around the corner so I can just go home and go to the bathroom
but
because.
that's ridiculous. That's
I
ridiculous.
know it is. That's why I'm here. It's nonsense. And
Have you
You
thought of
look at
writing
it-
a letter to the Daily Freeman just to maybe get some, or even writing a letter to Steve and find out?
Elizabeth, before we do that, we can invite Jack, who's the project manager, or I'll put you on a phone call with him.
Oh, okay, great.
I mean, Elizabeth, you can do whatever you want, but I know Jack, who's the manager, I'm sure if you'd want to hear that feedback, and maybe if there's modifications that can happen.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like,
That's a good idea.
give the city a chance to make right.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm just shocked. I mean, it just
that's
seems
where
to be
I'm
amazing.
coming from. I'm really into that. And I'm offering myself free of charge, like just call me and I'll go check things. I'll go make sure that that's going to work for people. Because I know, even though my chair, I have crappy chairs, I can bring one. I actually have a meeting tomorrow with Gina Hansett, and I'm supposed to get with Jen Metzger. I had met them after I did the disability parade. And I made an offer to them, and I make the same offer to you guys. I want to take them out in a wheelchair and come spend some time with me.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Come see what this is really like. And I want people to realize that we're not just whining. We're not just, I just don't know anywhere to go potty. It's not that. You have to see it to believe it. Because I told you right from the start, I had literally a really bad relationship with my father because of him being a recluse, and we would fight about it. And I'd be like, Dad, there's ADA laws. So, like the bars are in it. Every bathroom you go into, he would say, they're not right. And I'd be like, well, what's right? What do you want? It's like, I don't understand. And now I get it. Now I really see it. And I'm ashamed of myself. And it's part of the mission I'm doing, to make up for that and make it better, because my daughter also has muscular dystrophy and she's she'll be in a chair in another 10 years. And I need to make this place better for her.
There's a saying from.
Hold on, just a second, Elizabeth, and to go back to Dietz. Let's see if we can do that tour at Dietz, and let's see if we can get Jack to look at it, and if there's modification, I really think that the city will try to do modifications. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that there's a famous line from To Kill a Mockingbird, is that you don't understand a person until you walk in their shoes. And that's what you're saying. I mean, none of us who has to deal with this has an inkling. I had a relative who was incapacitated that way too. So I'm aware of that too. So if you're not, you don't think about it, but I'm just appalled. Let's find out what he says. Yeah, let's find out what he
Anybody
says.
wants to take me up on it?
Yeah,
I would love to do it.
Definitely.
What's speaking of that, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
I'll leave you my phone number. You can.
You want
emails?
to jump in?
Absolutely.
Okay, hi. Well, thank you, Yeah, thank you, David, so much. I just wanted to mention I get a little confused about where we are in the process with this exactly, but I know we have a sidewalk improvement plan that is not it's kind of in the financial planning stages, or Emily can say more, but I just wanted to say like there is something in motion that we're basically trying to have a plan to refurbish all the sidewalks in Kingston. And it could be something that would require a referendum for the people of Kingston to vote on. And I really think, like, David, your perspective and advocacy would be so important to making everyone in Kingston understand why we really need this. We really need to have the sidewalks redone and, do all these things. It's not a waste of money. It really makes a huge difference in people's lives. So, and maybe Emily can say more about it if you want.
Yeah, it's, so the Complete Streets Advisory Council did a white paper about a sidewalk improvement plan. It's basically, the issue is finding the funding stream. So the city took that white paper and the mayor dedicated, I'm blanking on how much, somewhere between $50,000 to $100,000 for a sidewalk improvement plan. The city engineer and myself have drafted a request for proposals. So that is a document that we go out to ask for planning and engineering firms to help us plan how to pay for sidewalks and through the different funding mechanisms that could be used. That RFP has not gone out yet. We're still drafting it. So it's going very slowly, but it is still a project on our table and it's still something we're working on to move forward. But it's still very much it's like pre-planning. So we are years away from implementation, just to be super clear.
Which is scary.
I know.
It really is. And if we could at least change things uptown and downtown before even just side street stuff, just to make those things accessible. And some simple things like, I don't understand, I don't want to hurt any business. I don't want to hurt Savona's, I don't want to hurt them down there. But that business is a problem. And my chair barely fits through there. Normal chairs aren't going to make it through there. There's a video I have right now that went viral, and you can see me stuck, like trying to get by. I almost hit a baby, and it's why I did it. And this funniest thing is the video I was making for the wheelchair company because they said, do us a favor and go out and just, because I kept telling them, like, there's nowhere to go. And I kept telling them all these problems. They're like, we don't believe you. Let me see what, just like, I wear glasses that have cameras in them and I drive around and I get all these views. And I'm like, I will show you exactly. And sure enough, I go right down there. I mean, I've talked to them a couple of times. Even it's hard to get by when I'm still using a cane and a walker, and then trying to find a handicap spot downtown is a whole other issue, and that goes into it. But these are little things that, like, some simple enforcement, like ADA. Do we even have an ADA enforcement person in Kingston? Like, is there such a thing?
I do not believe so.
And why wouldn't we? I don't understand. Like,
my understanding is that, like, the ADA, so the city has been charged with an ADA transition plan, and we have pieces of an ADA transition plan. But my understanding is that you tell me that the federal government has tasked cities with coming up with a plan to make our streets and public buildings more accessible. But my understanding is that there's no policing of that. There's no funding for testing, I have two.
My understanding is that unless specific municipalities make it their priority, it is not funded by the federal government in any way. It's something that's got to come, it's got to have special funding from the city. Now, I can say that in the San Francisco Bay Area, the disability movement is very strong. And so they lobbied and they made sure that through disability commissions and things that were part of the city structure, that there was a person on staff, and that was their job. Now, in my case, in Berkeley, in Oakland, I don't, yeah, it wasn't in Public Works in Oakland, but in Berkeley, it was, all Disability Commission was in Public Works, primarily because of the facilities retrofit. And, I had a totally blind person, and I had a person who was relegated. This is the way he put it. He was relegated to a wheelchair because of a very bad car accident. But they were our disability specialists, and that was their job. And they went around to check things and worked with the engineering department and anything that was being built to make sure that it fit the requirements, so that we could get out of the 88. Yes, that plan can be somewhat onerous in the sense of what it takes, which is a lot of money. So as you do certain retrofits, yes, you try to fit it in and make sure that it works. But an actual staff position, no, they're not funded by the feds. It never happened.
I was like, Ezra, had a comment or a question?
Yeah, so I just had a quick question when it comes to the sidewalk improvement thing. I know that it's a bit of time away and that it's got to go through the referendum and everything, but provided everything goes to plan, is there a means by which we can prioritize the areas that David is talking about? Because uptown, he's completely correct. Uptown and downtown are just a disaster. I don't use a wheelchair, but I have a degenerative autoimmune disease. I have to use a cane to walk, so I can empathize with some of the things that you're saying. But uptown's it's a disaster. I mean, you were just talking about the Nico's Pharmacy. I was there about a week or two ago. I think I saw you, Emily, that day actually. To get a new cane, and just walking back up those sidewalks is just it's terrible. Schwank is a terrifying street to try to walk on with any sort of mobility device. The sidewalks are jagged. Is there a means by which we can prioritize these places if everything goes to plan?
Yes, so in the RFP, the request for proposals, we've added a request for the consultant to create a prioritization matrix. So how do we prioritize which sidewalks get improved first? And then we've asked them to create that first draft of it, so a listing of potential projects. So that's in the request for proposals. So then when we do that planning project, like we do with all of our planning projects, ideally there would be a robust public engagement process. And ideally, my hope would be that we would put out that potential prioritization and then get feedback from the community. It's like, do you agree that these are the right priorities for improvement? So I think we have a pretty good track record of that's how we've been doing our projects. So I think there'd be multiple times to input your preferences for improvement. Yeah.
Okay, that's great to hear.
It's actually harder getting around uptown. He's 100% right with a cane than it is with this chair.
Mm-hmm.
It is that scary.
Don't try to walk.
That's really bad. I mean, I've been there, and before I ended up in the chair, my feet, I started having drop foot, so I can't lift my toes. That's part of the whole disease. And constantly, anytime you were going across the shale, like, you're going to get caught. It's going to happen. I'm sure it's happened to you many times. It's one of those things.
Also, it's certainly eye-opening to me.
It's eye-opening to me every single day, and it's sad because it's some of my videos, you'll actually hear it. Like when I find something good, I sound so excited. I'm almost like, you sound ridiculous. Like I listen, like I'm pulling a bathroom and I'll be just like, oh, this is great. Like, this is like a miracle. I warn you all, social media is a little different than me here talking, and I do a lot of funny stuff. I put a lot of sarcasm, a lot of humor. That's what you need to get people to pay attention on there. And it is working, and people are really seeing it. People get it. And I don't get a lot of the, oh, you're just a whiner or a complainer. Like I try and do it so it's fun. But every once in a while I do get mad, and I put something up where it's, like we had a thing at UPAC, and UPAC was fantastic. And it's hard to believe, but UPAC has one of the best bathrooms in Kingston when it comes to handicap. So the 100-year-old building, like was able to do the renovation enough to do that. But then I came out of that building and came down to the corner of Broadway, and I was turning down across from Cedars,
Cornell.
Cornell. I was gonna go across to Cornell. I gotta be honest, it's the scariest feeling in the world. There were cars flying from everywhere. There's people flying from everywhere. And I'm like, I worked at UPAC. I ran it for 10 years. And I'm going, I crossed this thing, and then now I'm in a chair, I should feel safer. And I'm like, I don't. This is scary, even with all the beeper things and all this stuff. I'm like, this is crazy. I get across, I go past Tubby's and head down Cornell because we have to park miles away. And as we're going, and I'm in the good chair, and you see in the video where I hit the bump in the sidewalk and it almost threw me out of the chair. And it's like, again, if it was a cheaper chair, if it was a lesser chair, if it was somebody in a manual chair, if they hit that, they're going to tip right over. Now you got a broken bone. Now you got this on top of whatever you were disabled to begin with. Like, just all those little things add up, and you get to a point where you don't want to go out anywhere. Like, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I actually told them, like, we're going to do a virtual meeting because there's nowhere to go to have a meeting. Like, where would you go? I had a member from the MDA come up from Washington, D.C. to come visit me. And we were going to meet at they were in town or doing something, and we're like, let's go meet. So I'm trying to go, again, I don't go out to eat. I haven't gone out to eat in 10 years. So I'm like, where do I go? Where do I go? I'm like, I'll just go to Dyson's. Dyson's should be perfect, right? It's flat, it's easy. He walks with 2 canes. This is going to work out great. I forgot. Dyson's has 4 steps to get down to their bathroom. I'm so embarrassed that I invited my MDA guy, and I'm trying to be this big advocate, and I'm like, I just invited you to the one place you can't even go to the bathroom. Like, you can't walk down steps anymore. Like, you literally can't. So what do you do? It's everywhere you go. It's like that around here. And a lot of it's little easy things that can be fixed. The things like the bathroom at the stadium, that should have been fixed in the first place. I didn't mention, and if you look at some of the videos, you'll see it. I can't pull up to the sink and wash my hands. I have to pull. You literally can't. I mean, all right. I understand you have one stall that I can get in. I have to back into it and I can get it. But the other stall that says handicap, there's no way. There's a video of it and the whole back end of it hangs out. But I come around to wash my hands and I can't even wash my hands. I got to literally hang over my chair like this from the side of the sink because there's not enough room in the hallway that they put them. And it's like, you guys had the perfect opportunity.
They could really.
And it's a beautiful stadium. Like I don't want to complain about it because I enjoy going there. I enjoy seeing the kids do soccer and do all that stuff. And getting up into the stands now, beautiful. It's fantastic. Getting around, the parking, fantastic. Like, all of that is great. But then it's all useless if I can't go use a bathroom. And it's, you get to a point where it's like, unfortunately with these diseases, and I'll speak for myself, like I can't hold it when I have to go. So you don't have time. And most people can't, or like Diane, like I was just explaining to you. What if she goes, she loves football, her kids play lacrosse, or, like she's involved in everything. What is she supposed to do? Like, she's going to sit in a dirty diaper in the stands, and then her husband race her over to the van and clean her up there. Like, and that's every kid you see with cerebral palsy. That's anybody that, in that age group. They need a bigger table. They need a bigger spot. They need these things, and we just need sidewalks to get there. I think I said it all.
Well,
I know, I'm depressed.
yeah.
I just ruined everybody's day. I'm sorry.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. Yeah, no, this is awesome. I was wondering what you think about as far as the parking, like you mentioned, like the county building and UPAC. Like, is it that they're not putting enough disabled parking spaces
Yeah, there's just, I think there's one or two in the front, and of
Yeah.
course, the two that were in front of UPAC, they had cars that were from a radio station or something, you know, an advertised thing. And that's the kind of stuff.
That's infuriating.
Downtown, by that restaurant we talked, again, I'm not trying to hurt them. I love the Simones. I do. I really do. They've done a ton for this. And my video that I do, I yell at people. I'm like, do not go after them. This isn't all their fault. This is, the city's allowing it to happen. This has been happening for years. Somehow, some way, it just has to be made better. I don't want to like hurt the people that sit at the tables. They obviously like doing it. If you like sitting out in the middle of the dirty sidewalk and having exhaust in your face while you're eating your expensive food, then I think it's great. Like, seriously, great. But you can't, we gotta find a way to share down there. Like,
Width of the side.
there's one handicap spot on that side of the road. It's right in front of them. And there's always a Mercedes in that spot. Always. The same Mercedes. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's traffic enforcement.
It's always there.
That's, if it's, yeah.
It's always there. We can go look at it right now if you want. I guarantee it's there.
Interesting.
You'll notice it now every time.
I live down there, so
It's there.
I'll be looking for it.
It's always there. I know because I go to my acupuncturist and doctors down there. And I go every 2 weeks. I used to go every week. And I've never once been able to park in that parking spot. So I ended up, I would have to sometimes park all the way down by Mariners and then walk up. And, you know, I wasn't a good walker for the last 5 years before this started, so. It's fun. No trip on
And
there.
there is parking enforcement that goes through there because there's meters, right? So how is parking enforcement not, either they're not getting it or the Mercedes is just like, oh, I'll just pay the tickets or I don't know.
So they actually, well, they have a handicap sticker, they have a handicap plate.
Okay.
And,
Oh, I see.
and I'm sure they're paying for it, but if you're not getting my hint, it's the people that work there and they just use that spot every single time.
David, I have a question. Would more designated van accessible parking help you as opposed to just handicap parking?
Yes, very much so. They,
Because I've noticed in some places there is van
yeah,
accessibility only or vans only. And then there's just handicap
it's
parking.
very important,
Okay.
as well as addressing issues like uptown where it's on the left side of the street.
Yeah, I understand the access, but I'm just saying in terms
But
of
yes, more.
just more designated,
Absolutely.
enforceable van handicap parking only. Okay.
We
Is
just,
there van only parking?
Yes, there is van only.
we do have some, and in most places, they have one or two spots.
Yeah.
Most places. Trying to get people to understand how to use them.
Right, yeah, yeah.
They park on the blue lines, they don't get it, like,
Right.
if I go in the store and you park on those blue lines, I can't get my ramp out. I personally can get up and if I had to move my van, but most young people, but I'm also taking a chance. And it also hurts me a lot to do it. I can do it, but I'm doing damage. I can get by, most people can't do that. So then what do? You literally sit there. And then if you have to call the police and have them come, that's not a priority, nor do I want to call them, but bother the police with that. There's much more important things to be worried about than hashtag parkers. You know, it's like, it's just common sense stuff. And it's why I kind of do what I do. And I started putting it out and people have thanked me for that, where, you know, they're like, I had no idea that the blue lines meant that. And now they know why the blue lines mean that, because it really, my ramp will come out. So it's as far as you are. And then I need space beyond that ramp to get off the ramp. I need this much space, which almost comes up to 4 feet beyond the ramp to get off and not hit your car next to me. And that becomes a whole issue. And, you know, that kind of, all these things deter leaving the house. And you end up sitting home and making videos and yelling all day long.
So it sounds like you figured out how to be constructive with your.
I have. it hit me, I got, through that MDA, I was really depressed and things were bad, and I had joined the MDA group, and they kind of talked me into finally getting out and using the chair and seeing the world. And then once I got out and realized it all and really saw it, I was like, what do we do? Like, now I have to fix this.
And-
I gotta
and
use
I-
this time. I have nothing else to do. I don't work anymore. I can't work a real job. So this is what I do. So if you guys need me, yell for me, ask for me. I will do anything. I will go anywhere and check it for you. I don't mind. I did get a call from Ulster County is doing something when it comes to mapping out all the trails. And were asking me my thoughts on the website. It's awful, and they agreed. So I was like, great, I'm glad you see that, because it really is. I've offered, I will go to every single trail and I'll write out all the things that handicapped people need to know. We need to know what the ground is. We need to know if there are ramps. We need to know, do you have bathrooms are important to handicapped people. We can't hold it anymore. It really becomes, and when you sit in the chair too long, you gotta pee a lot, and it becomes a whole thing, and then you bounce around in the chair and you really gotta pee. And it becomes a whole thing. It's, so I'm helping them with that, and I'm gonna help, I'm gonna go take pictures of things, and I like put that on the website, because every place I go, I have to, so I was trying to just figure out if I was gonna be able to get in here, like everything has to be thought out when you're in a chair. Like, I need to, do you really have a bathroom that I can get into? Do you really have this? Do you really, I need to know. And so for that, I'm like, make your map and have it clickable where we can actually see pictures of it and not have to go to Google and go start searching everything and go, where do I go now?
Ella?
Okay, yeah, okay, so assuming that, we'll just assume that the Mercedes by Savona's has a legitimate disabled sticker. So it sounds like they could use more spaces, but also I was wondering, so for a van accessible, can you do that on a sidewalk, or should it be in a parking lot where you have a full lane?
The parking
You know what I'm
lot
saying?
is further, but unloading to a sidewalk is fine as long as it's flat there.
Okay.
It's much more preferable than, so uptown, I would rather be on the right side of the road and be able to dump out onto the sidewalk, even if it is crappy. That's better than going out to the road. Sure.
Yeah, okay.
How much clearance do you need on the sidewalk? Because one of the things that I find problems with the sidewalks, especially in uptown, that they aren't that wide. So you don't have a lot of access regardless. So are you looking at, for a sidewalk clearance of a minimum of, say, 4 to 6 feet? I mean, considering a travel lane, what your ramp has to get out to, what you need to maneuver, because that is one of the challenges I see about any older city or any
So
historic city.
that can be tight.
They don't have, the width of the sidewalk causes
But
issues. Yeah,
why they can't do it.
right.
Uptown would work. I would have to actually do a tape measure. I don't have that number in my head, but my ramp, I think, is 3 foot. But if I'm parked so we're 3 foot in, and then I need to come down that ramp, and I can turn pretty fast. Most chairs can turn pretty fast and, click on, but we're probably talking 3 foot.
Well, I think those are the kind of,
Yeah.
like I said, as a former retired public works director who did,
Sure.
who's in charge of this, whenever I would get this kind of issue, my engineers, my people would say, well, wait a minute, the sidewalk is only 3 feet.
Yeah, we can't.
Okay, so this is not going to happen, but in the future, when we have the room, what kind of room are we looking for? Are we looking for, we need to have a minimum of a 6-foot sidewalk in order to make this work? Okay, so those are the kind of dimensions and kind of things that going forward with the sidewalk plans and what we'd like to do, that would be helpful, because then you could say, okay, if and when there would be ever a new building, or if you're doing that kind of retrofit, you go, all right, in this particular area, if we're going to do the van accessible parking, we need to have a minimum of a 6-foot apron in order to make this work.
Sure.
So that would solve your problems. It'd also be better for regular pedestrians just in general. But but you know, when I think of the Savonas and I think of, I was recently asked, and the sidewalk area, I mean, it's really, you know, they're horrible because of where they are, or even in the up down. So, you know, in part of your figuring out and working on what needs to get done, I think it would be helpful if you said for your particular kind of chair or whatever chair, what are we looking at for a radius or an apron that would make it more accessible for you? Because I can say with the cane, well, listen, as long as it's hitting something, don't walk there, you know, or lift your foot because you're about to fall on your face. But in your particular situation, you're looking at more of an access radius, and that those dimensions would be quite helpful.
I will do that. I will get that for you. I just wrote it down. I will make sure I measure that.
Because the engineering department or whoever's writing the RFP would want to know, okay, this is what we're looking at for clearance, and that would make it a lot easier.
I can do that. Very easy. I'll even use my bigger chair just to.
The biggest chair that you think most people would have.
Not overthinking.
You know, but just something, don't make it the tiniest chair, but something that you would feel that the average person would be able to have and use. I mean, as you said, not everybody can afford your chair, but you know, the chairs from Nico's that you talked about, well, if they're the most prevalent in the community, how do we even make them even more usable and user-friendly than they are now?
I'm on it. I will get you those numbers.
When just thinking about sort of pedestrian infrastructure in a long term and broad kind of way, and you know, reflecting on your problems that we have with the sidewalks and their width. I've been seeing there's a couple things I saw recently. One, the in Toronto, the protected bike lanes have started becoming really popular among mobility chair users. Started, people are like cruising down those. Seems pretty cool. If that can be, you know, something that participates in you know, contributes to helping with that. And the other thing that comes to mind is in Berlin, they have, you know, the way that they usually build bike lanes is they're on the same level with a sidewalk. They do that, I think, in parts of Madison, Wisconsin too. And so you got the concrete sidewalk, the asphalt bike lanes on the same level, and then the curb and the car step is over here. And what that gives you effectively is a really wide sidewalk that then is likely to be just like much more traversable for wheelchair users. Now I wonder if it works for everybody. Yeah, right. And then, like, you know, as Kingston continues to grow, you know, we can't continue like adding parking spaces everywhere, you know, but we can make it easier for people in wheelchairs and whatever, however they're getting around to get from point A to point B, you know, have more van parking in, you know, make sure that people can get easily from where there's van accessible wheelchair parking to where they're trying to go.
Makes sense. We need it.
Ezra, did you have something to say?
Yeah, so all great points, Brendan. I think on that same topic, it's another one of the reasons why continuous or raised sidewalks, as they're sometimes called, are really important, crosswalks rather. I think one of the best examples of where the lack of raised crosswalks creates an enormous position of danger for people with mobility devices is the rail trail. In Kingston, in the places where it intersects with a lot of the side streets, in particular Down Street, the crosswalk actually drops down. The sidewalk itself is at a higher elevation than where you are crossing the street. So you are in the least visible position possible, while also having to, you know, there's a couple of people I see a lot who are manual wheelchair users on the rail trail. And the way that they have to try to cross the area is just terrifying. They usually kind of have to, like, you know, back themselves, you know, go backwards down the ramp and then kind of try to jut out from the parked cars that always park in the buffer zone because there's nothing physically preventing people from parking there. And you have people coming down the street at 30, 35 miles an hour, and you're trying to look behind you at the same time that you're trying to, you know, push yourself backwards up a ramp, I think there's just so many places for improvement on that topic, and I think continuous sidewalks could be a really good means to do so.
What spot is that? Sorry.
Downs.
Yeah, the intersection where the linear park crosses Down Street is one of the scariest places that I've seen in terms of trying to get across that part of the linear park in a wheelchair.
Backing up wheelchairs is one of the hardest things to do for wheelchair users. Just keep that in mind. Just another one of those little, like, I never thought of that either. It is so, I actually have a backup cam on this, that I put a car backup cam, just, I have a bad neck, my back, so when I try and look, and you can see how I'm tilted, so it's kind of hard to know your space, and then trying to back into things, it's just like, it's hard. So like having to back into, say, a bathroom stall is another whole issue, because like, and I've seen the horror videos where it hasn't happened to me yet because I'm trying to pay attention, but where they hit a toilet bowl and break the toilet bowl, and then there's water all over their $30,000 machine and on them, and it's like all these little tiny things that are like, it's all simple enough things that just having the door is supposed to open to the outside, not to the inside. If it opens to the inside and you go in there, you can't close the door, right? Try that at Target. That's like, you can't do it. That's why I can't bring the chair in there. Otherwise, or I gotta go to the bathroom with a wide open door. Happens everywhere you go. Everywhere you go.
All right, well, thank you so much.
I have one more question. This point I brought up to the city engineer a few times. Like every time we do a project, each driveway, instead of keeping the driveway section like at the same level as the sidewalk, they usually like lower the driveway in a way that it's easier, I don't know, for the cars. And they say like, oh, sure, those are still ADA compliant. But when you see, I think they recently did Prospect Street, and each driveway, I feel like, it's like a roller coaster, because like there's so many driveways, you just like keep going up and down, and like they see each one of those individually ADA compliant, but I feel like that whole street should be looked that way. Is that something that you think it affects you, like having so many like ups and downs on the sidewalk instead of like having a complete, like a level sidewalk?
Absolutely. It should be level. Absolutely, 100% level is better. It's just for anybody, for almost all of the population. Sooner or later, at some point, everybody becomes handicapped. Everybody becomes, needs a wheelchair at some point in life, unless you're lucky enough to get out with a heart attack and you don't have to go through all that stuff. But think about it. Both my parents did. My mom didn't have a disease, but ended up in a wheelchair. You think, when you start thinking about it, you realize, and then think of the broken legs. And all these people have to get around and do all these things. Level it's a world of difference. It also, one of the things when it comes to these chairs, they're pretty precise. So when you're like, for instance, down in front of some motors and driving down there, like I'm pretty good at it, and I've practiced, and this chair is really good. It's like driving a Corvette, so it's like I can do it. But you get in one of these other chairs, they don't respond like that. So when all of a sudden the planter is in front of you and you have to go this way, sometimes that chair goes much further than you thought it was. And the curb is right there, or the parking meters are right there. And if you smack into that parking meter, these don't have an actual brake that we press. So it's a matter of you let go of your controller and it rolls to a stop. That becomes a thing. On top of it, people like me, so if you watch my hands, I'm not doing that. They do it on their own. This is all just part of the disease. And the more I use them, worse this gets. That's how the disease works. So when I'm on this, and it's one of the reasons I use a ball, so I can grip like this. But a lot of times, like my dad, he would get on a ramp and his hand would do it. He ended up off the ramp, like literally off the ramp. And so these are like little things that come with all this. So that's why having, back to Scotto, you need flat, you need anything that adds bumps and jumps or cracks, or any of those type of things can throw a chair off.
Right.
And the front casters on a lot of the cheaper chairs are much smaller. They don't do what this does. This is Australian made and made to do all terrain and do all that stuff. Whereas those other chairs don't, and they catch. And it's, again, you're either flipping out or it'll stop the chair. You end up shooting out the front of your chair flat on the ground. Turns into a nightmare.
It does seem like having you or somebody else with your experience for looking over projects, it's kind of the.
And I would love to do that.
Yeah.
And it just to make everything a little better. Again, I'm not looking for money. I'm not looking for any, I kept poking my nose around the stadium, hoping I would see somebody there because I would watch them build stuff. And I'm like, I know how this works around here. I'm like, something, and again, it's beautiful. And it's so fun up there in a wheelchair. Like, I have my life back. I can go see the kids. I can go do all these things now that I couldn't do. I, like, for 3 years was stuck as a recluse myself because I was afraid to go out in a wheelchair. And then I finally, through the MDA and getting one of these chairs was like, I don't have a choice. I gotta go out. I gotta have my life. I gotta go see my grandkids. I gotta go do these things. And then it became, I gotta change, help and do something here. So anything I can do, all upon me, yell, scream.
Yeah, I think we'll at least try to connect with the person behind each stadium. You start. And
Complete Streets can make recommendations too, so you guys are hearing about how a van accessible spots need to be designed, or that there should be more, you guys can submit that to because the Common Council, the city engineer recommends, I think, may recommend where handicap spots are, but the Common Council vote to where they are placed, and so you guys can make that recommendation.
Okay. Well, thank you.
I'll also mention, David, we have an open chair for Complete Streets. If you're able to join us,
I'm in.
if there's an open spot, please do.
Would you like me?
Sure. Yeah, well,
I would absolutely do it.
we have to, I think, formally have an application filled out and then the mayor would. But yeah.
There's a process.
Yeah, there's a process.
If you don't mind, before you go, let me grab your email and I can send you more information.
I would love to do it.
All right.
Like I said, like anything that I can do to help.
Pretty once a month, second Wednesdays, 4 to 5:30. It works.
Sure, that'd be great. And like I said, I'm always available. I can always go check things out. I wish somebody was doing it.
Great.
You think the health department or somebody, like when you tell them business they're ready to go, somebody somewhere has to go over these things.
I think that's a question Complete Streets can ask.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if it's the building department. I don't know if there is a process. So let's ask.
There has to be something, we hope. I don't. Yeah, true. Okay, fair enough.
All right, so you had one other thing really to go over while we still have time. You're more than welcome to stay and sort of see what else we're up to here. But it was the SEQR determination.
Seeker. Sounds like we'll call it seeker.
Seeker. Can we pull up, I put the file on the shared drive.
Oh, isn't that the link that's
Yeah.
on the agenda? Okay, bring it up on the screen. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. See.
The internet seems to be a little bit poor. Like it bumped me off the Zoom earlier. So
Are you part of Spectrum?
oh,
The
that's
Spectrum's
funny.
been-
Someone else today.
It's been crazy. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking of going to fiber.
Are you doing like this? Oh,
Planet Net, they're fabulous.
Oh, okay.
I switched. I work from home, and Spectrum was charging me $90 for 300 down and 10 up, which was highway robbery.
Yeah.
$20
Planet-
less. I'm getting a gig up and a gig down.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically there are two parcels, right, on Flatbush Ave.
That was from what?
Let's see, 206 and 208, let me just pull up on my maps here. Oh, right, so it's their, I guess they're redesigning, is it senior housing?
Oh, where the Alms House is and where they have,
It's across from the cemetery.
oh, no, that's further down. Okay. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, so basically, I think they just want us to, they thought the Complete Streets was the interested party. We've gotten these before. I think the last one we got, we just kind of let it time out without sort of giving feedback.
I think this is that too.
Wait, really?
I mean,
Oh, no.
this is the one that I'm aware of. It was over 30 days ago.
Oh,
Was this part of the Foxhole Flatbush project?
Date
No.
July 9th. Yeah.
Oh, so it's gone.
yeah, well, they moved on without us.
Okay.
All right, well, so much for that. Apologies, I thought we still had, was this? Oh, well, yeah, I guess we should have done this over email then, but.
And when they sent out that seeker request, my understanding of it is that they are announcing that whatever party it is that they're saying is going to be the seeker determiner. They're basically asking if someone else wants to chime in on if they should be a part of that decision-making process.
Okay.
I don't know that they're asking for feedback on that project. You can give feedback on that project, though, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
technically, that's not what they're asking you for.
Okay,
And was this to develop the property? I mean, what?
I don't know, I would have to look at
Okay.
the document, I don't recall.
I have an idea where it is, but I'm trying to figure out what would they put there. Or,
Yeah, it was something about, I think,
I didn't,
senior housing, I'm not sure.
really?
Yeah. Oh, well,
Okay.
Yeah, the demolition of 32 senior housing buildings for the construction of 80 senior housing 80 units. Senior
On
housing.
Flatbush?
Yeah.
yeah,
it's part of the housing complex. They're basically redoing a section of it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
yeah. It doesn't seem honestly sort of really in our wheelhouse per se, unless they're sort of connecting it to Flatbush with some sort of road or something, I don't know.
Well, there's no side, are there sidewalks on that side of the track?
There's this one that's
Yeah.
on the north side.
Only on that side.
Only on that side, so there would be sidewalks. I would think if we had anything to say would be, please make them smooth and accessible.
Access to,
And,
you'll be making new nice sidewalks.
right, they
connect to
do
the
make
not nice
really
sidewalks.
nice sidewalks that would be smooth and accessible and, yeah. With decent width, yeah.
Feels like a good time to mention that the planning department has a really great updated website. And for any of these projects, you can see the plans, the documents in a much better way than you used to be able to.
Okay.
So when I say you can always give your feedback on things, what I'm suggesting is that you can go to the planning department, you can go to their meetings, you can always make a public comment. I can bring it up on the screen if you want deeper, but that's what each of you individually can give feedback on any of the projects that the planning board is reviewing as part of our public process. Okay. So looks like these are all the projects that are under review by the planning board right now. It's taking a long time to load, but you can click on each one and you'll see all of the documents that are being proposed. And then the planning board is usually the ones that enforce the zoning code. So if something says that sometimes in these plans, for example, they will do new sidewalks and you sort of have to be aware that project is happening, but you can go and make a comment that you'd like those sidewalks to be done a different way. The planning board is the one that enforces that when a new private property is being built. It's still not living well, but anyway, just to be aware that that's a thing that can be done.
Good job.
Bunch of announcements when you're ready for
Oh, yeah, well, the only other old item, I think this kind of been hanging out for a while, since we have a few minutes, Ella, is there anything about e-bike storage batteries that you had any updates on or wanted to discuss there?
I'm sorry, I lost the thread on that issue actually, and I don't know. We were thinking about, well, we sent well, I kind of wrote up a thing about e-bikes and we sent it to Susan Cahill, who's from the head of the planning department. And I don't know what else were we gonna do there? Let me see. Oh, we were talking about climate start goals to encourage EV use, looking at e-bikes. So I guess there were climate. I haven't done anything with this.
Yeah, I thought it was something to do with storing the new buildings. Isn't that also something you were discussing? Is that?
Yeah. Because they're being because e-bikes are being banned from buildings, and by the way, I think for some people they are a mobility device as well. So I think that's another issue too. Like I don't know what the deal is with the chairs, even like if there's battery operated chairs, like are those a fire hazard as well, or like what's the deal with that? But I know because of they're worried about fires with e-bikes, and that's why they've been banning them.
Ezra, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, so from my understanding of the e-bike storage issue and the reason why it isn't really a thing with any like motorized scooters and stuff is it's not the e-bikes themselves, it's that there's no regulation or no enforced regulation, I should say, on counterfeit batteries, which a lot of people purchase in order to have like more overpowered e-bikes at the expense of safety because they're not UL certified. I know that that's usually a pretty decently significant problem in large cities where you have a lot of people who are using e-bikes for things like DoorDash and things like that, where you have a lot of people who are using these kind of counterfeit batteries. I don't know how much of an issue that would be here. I don't know what we could do in terms of an enforcement mechanism for making sure that e-bikes that would be stored would be ones without counterfeit batteries. But from my understanding, that's what the issue is with e-bikes. But I do agree, it does present an issue because for a lot of people, e-bikes and e-scooters are mobility devices. So yeah, I don't know what exactly could be done on that, but from my understanding, that's what the issue is.
The lithium battery thing's been an issue.
Yeah, is that what?
These are gel, so they're not,
Okay.
but they give us a hard time for flying them, and then it becomes technically they can cause trouble, but
Right.
they're not gonna.
Well, I think like Ezra was saying, I think the UL batteries are pretty safe, but the people use illegal batteries, and that's what is unsafe. So I feel like it would make more sense to ban illegal batteries and have some way of like showing that, your receipt showing that you're using a UL certified battery or something like that.
From my understanding, they are illegal technically. I think the enforcement is the issue. I don't know exactly what we could do about that, but that would be the potential solution.
Well, I feel like if it's like because it's people, it's landlords basically banning them. So I think it would be like the landlord, instead of banning the e-bike, the landlord would require, if you're going to have an e-bike, they would require that you show that you have a UL battery.
Have there been reports of batteries burning?
In Kingston, I haven't heard about it, but other places, and it was usually a ventilation issue where they were, it was,
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's not something I've heard of around here. I mean, I'm aware it happens, but
Yeah.
Everybody once in a while, the cell phone will blow up too, and it's.
Yeah, I think this came up because of a particular development on Broadway. That We just started, I feel like it's been on our agenda for quite a while. I'm not honestly sure if it's origin anymore. But,
So I can't imagine too many people here doing DoorDash or
right.
or school.
All
Well, I
right,
just feel like New York City has like 8 million people. So like statistically, if you have, there's going to be a few fires
yeah.
if people are having bad batteries and there's a lot of DoorDash. So, and then
Yeah,
people
may
don't care
not
about
be an issue, but you know, maybe
That's something to think
might
about, but-
become one. Yeah, we could think about it then, but maybe we'll
Yeah.
table
Yeah.
this for the time being. Emily, you said you had a number of updates you want to give?
Announcements, communications. I think I updated it since I posted the agenda, but I think I already put in Brandon in the notes there for you. I wanted to just give a quick update, our clean mobility study, of which Brandon is on our project advisory committee. We've received a draft plan. This would be a rentable system for the city of Kingston. We have not published that draft yet, but in the next few weeks, we'll probably have a final plan. It's moving along very quickly. We'll post that on engagekingston.com when we have it. And then we are very quickly applying for NYSERDA's second round of funding to try to do a pilot program for that. So just a quick update on that. More to come. If we get that second round of grant funding, then we would try to do a pilot, and it would be a few years out until I think you see anything on the streets. So quite a bit of time still.
There you go.
Then these are been on the agenda, so the Empire State Greenways Conference, October 15th, that's been on the agenda, there was an announcement. The third one is the Ulster County, Long Range Transportation Plan. I sent out an email to you all. They're having a public meeting tonight. I think tonight and maybe tomorrow's are also available virtually. So tonight's in Kingston, and I think the next night is in Ellenville, is that correct? So just want to draw your attention to that. It's a great time to give feedback about transportation in Ulster County, because that's the long range transportation plan. So they're looking at it either 5 years to 10 years. Please give your feedback. That's a great time to give it. Not my project, the Midtown Linear Park Community Space, design space that they're doing. That's Kristen Wilson is, I think, leading that. I believe they have a couple of public meetings coming up for that. So there's a link in that in the agenda. Then it's a little bit adjacent to your work, but I hope you don't mind me mentioning it. Live Well Kingston, that's the other commission that I'm the liaison. Grow Well is having a garden tour. So I'll pass that out and see you all. It's gonna be the issue is bike. The first 5 gardens are walkable, or they're ADA accessible, but they are walkable.
I can find out.
Yeah, wrap it out for me. And new this year is we're getting live Spanish interpretation, thanks to the Farm Health. They're paying quite a bit of money to have live Spanish interpretation, so that's very cool. Then the other one that I want to mention is the post office park Brent, the city's arborist, is hosting a tree tour at Post Office Park. That's the first Saturday in September. You can see all of these events at livewellkingston.org/events. I'll put that link in the chat for the folks online. So just a bunch of fun events are coming up soon. So I'm gonna share that. Is there anything else in the announcements? No, that's it.
That's it. All right, great. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks to our guests. I gave information on applying for our open spot. Is that our only open spot, do you know?
I believe we only have one open spot right now.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, full.
But there might be something to in the next, we should put on the agenda in the next couple of months is to review. It's like Claudette, you've been on here for 5 years, you got big gold star. Want you can stay a total of 8 years, so you don't have to leave yet. But might want to look at some of those things you mentioned in the next coming months.
I will consider. You might need fresh blood.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go.
No, we're not gonna let you go. You can't.
But you get the gold star right now. You're the oldest.
Oldest, yay.
You're the oldest.
All right, well, thanks, everyone. I think I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Feel better, Ella.
Nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye.